Hi, how are you?
How's it going?
Okay, so that wasn't that great. So we're gonna get up. Okay, come on, get up. Like literally get up. Okay, we're gonna stretch. Are you ready? Okay, to the sky. Okay, to the ground. Okay, now high five the person closest to you. Okay, now you can sit down. Okay, now how are we now? Better? Yay! Okay. So, thank you all for being here and choosing to be here on a Saturday afternoon. We realize it's Saturday. And thank you for Simon and everyone here volunteering at Toronto Design Offsite for giving us the opportunity to share our story. Okay, so Markus and I, about a year ago, we were really curious about how we can make the future of work a more inclusive place to be. And so we started doing a little bit of digging, and the stats that we found were kind of disappointing. What we've learned is that 1 in 7 Canadians, or rather 12% of Canadians, live in poverty. And our definition of poverty is that they have to choose between 2 basic needs, like buying healthy food and taking their kid to the dentist to get a cavity removed. What's also shocking is that a quarter of Canadians, not including these people, are living on the brink of that. So what that means is that they are just a paycheck away from having to make the same decision. And obviously, poverty is expensive. We probably all know that. But in terms of how expensive it is, it costs us individually $2,600 every year in Ontario. Everyone here in this room, if you're not on social welfare, that's how much you pay. Collectively, as a nation, that represents $78 billion. And this is just to help that 12%. Not the total 1/3 of Canadians cumulatively.
There are a lot of factors that are really disrupting the future of work. We've heard about a lot of them today. We've heard about a lot of them today, and really, sorry guys, I missed my line.
You're
doing great.
It's
And really,
okay.
as we start to think through that these are going to have an even much greater impact on folks who are in at-risk or marginalized communities. So we spent a lot of time in communities. We spent a lot of time in Regent Park. We spoke to community leaders. We spoke to community members, to counselors, support workers, to pastors. And we learned a lot about the challenges and obstacles that are facing a lot of people on their way to sustainable employment. And as we started to dig, we really started to think through how could we create a learning environment that really supports all Canadians, regardless of what their current socioeconomic situation is, especially as jobs start to disappear and new jobs appear.
So, I'm Chenny, and the reason why I get the right to talk about this topic with Markus is because I am an avid backpacker and I love to travel and hike. I am a dog mom, and I happen to work at the moment, which is an innovation consultancy, and we build innovation capabilities across organizations of all sizes using service design and agile. I also bring these exact same tools into my personal life, including my friendship circles and my marriage, because my husband Ken is awesome, etc.
Hi, I'm Markus. I'm a husband. I am a father to 2 boys, Max and Matthias. By day, I'm an avid hiker and huge sports fan. By day, I lead design teams, currently at Indigo, previously at TELUS and at Rogers. And really, outside of work, I really apply this designer mindset and these design skills to community challenges like teaching grade school students in Regent Park, as well as at-risk community members.
So together, we thought, well, what if we took the best of what we do today, really, to serve the top 1% at the end of the day, and flipped it to serve that 36% that we showed you earlier. And so our little experiment was, we're going to create a thing called the Prosper Lab, yay! And the Prosper Lab happens to be an attempt at a safe, hands-on learning environment that supports socioeconomically disadvantaged people to develop the skills and the confidence that they need in order to rise above poverty.
So we started the Yonge Street mission. Our first session, we were all strangers. We sat in a circle, we shared our story, some of our struggles, our reason for being there, what we hope to get out of this session. And we heard a lot of things. We heard folks were wanting to get that first job. They were hoping to get a job. They're hoping better work with other team members, with other folks, to be able to increase their confidence, to have healthier relationships. We also heard that a couple of folks actually wanted to start their own business. It was about independence, being the boss, really having control. So that kind of sparked an idea. What if we were to actually build a business together to build the skills that these individuals needed? We learned through a lot of the empathy building we had early on that these individuals often have rules forced upon them. They really have rules imposed on them, imposed on whether they want in their ability to acquire food, to get support, in order to get the skills that they need. So we kind of flipped that model. We actually co-created the rules, our ground rules, how we would actually work with one another. And that really led us to realize that, hey, in this ambiguous future that we're working towards, hey, we need to actually shape the rules because they just don't exist.
Additionally, in this ambiguous future, we have to come up with lots of ideas. And turns out many of us aren't actually used to being asked to come up with ideas, which was the case with the group that we were working with. So we gave them a few basic business design tools, as you can see here. And a really interesting thing happened. We were able to create a shift in a mental model from, what am I supposed to do, to, I'm going to figure it out. And at that moment, Markus and I were no longer leaders of this program that was going to teach them about how to build a business, but rather we were just supporting them in their journey to figure out how. And after many collaborative discussions, the team decided to make and sell candles.
So we started, and we quickly realized none of us knew how to make candles. And we really did the thing that everyone does when they don't know how to do anything, is we watched YouTube videos. And that further reinforced that we were all beginners in this, that none of us we were actually going to shape this business and actually this learning environment together. The first couple weeks were rough. We really struggled. The wicks were shifting. We had wax all over the kitchen. It would take us hours to clean up the kitchen. We had frustration, and there was disagreements too. But really, by taking a bit of a fail-forward mentality and really focusing on continuous improvement, we quickly allowed team members to find new ways of working. They were able to find solutions to the wicks. They first started using pencils, and then they started using popsicle sticks to keep the wick straight. They found new ways to actually clean the glasses. They found ways, we went from only a handful of candles the first couple weeks to a couple dozen by the middle of the program, where we still had a lot of cleaning to do. And then finally, we actually were producing 50+ candles. And it was just as the team members were getting more confident, better at working together and actually finding out new solutions on how to actually make their candles. And once we had an inventory of candles, really we were looking at sharing our story and to connect with the community to actually sell candles. And through this, we created a safe space to actually practice talking to other people, to sharing your story, to engaging. So really basic things like introduce yourself, say hello, don't yell at someone walking by. Really basic things.
So we started off by hosting a showcase at the Yonge Street Mission space last March. And I see a couple familiar faces, so thank you. You're awesome. Thank you for coming. And quickly, soon after that, by the summertime, so just 3 months had passed, we actually got our community members out into festivals and fairs, with a highlight being at Cabochon Festival, where 20,000 Torontonians showed up over the course of a weekend. And by the fall, we actually had other communities invite our members to go to their events to talk about their experiences. For example, in this photo, which was as a social entrepreneurship conference. And in reality, all of this sounds like a very clear series of steps that makes a lot of sense, but I can guarantee you that when Markus and I first started, we had no idea what we were doing. But what we did do is borrow from Colby and Fry's adult learning principles. which suggests that you just need to follow a set of structures to enable you to learn about things and do things that you don't think you can. It's pretty simple. Basic, oh, hang on. Projectile batteries. Okay, so basic things are you have to start off by just thinking about new concepts. You know, getting familiarized with them, reading about them, watching the YouTube videos in our case. Then you just apply those through experimentation. So maybe it's in the form of play. There's not too much stress on you. You're just getting familiar with the tools. Then when you build a little bit more confidence, you can apply it to the thing you're doing, which in our case was our candle startup. And finally, we made sure we created space every week so that our members could reflect as a team to think about what we should stop doing, start doing, and continue doing.
And this learn by doing model really enabled a couple things. Really, it fostered a shift from prescriptive learning objectives to really participant-led. Everyone had different needs that they needed to meet in order to personally grow or prepare for employment. They really loved the fact that we had shifted from a classroom-based learning model to one that was very adaptive and responsive. So our environment really changed, was different for empathy building, to building, to making candles, to actually selling those. And through that, we actually grew from being in a safe space at the Yonge Street Mission to the immediate community in Regent Park and Cabbagetown, and then beyond across Toronto. And that was really led by participants. You know, Alan was the one who suggested all these different events. As the team members got out and actually developed more and more confidence, it allowed us to shift what the environment was. And then finally, what our program sponsors at Yonge Street Mission loved was the fact that the program was actually financially self-sustainable. It didn't require the funding that they were used to.
These people also warned us about the dangers of doing this kind of stuff, including the fact that we needed a security guard on site in case there were fights, and the fact that we should expect that only 4 out of 20 will remain at week 2. Ha, 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 we said at the end. What our Learn by Doing model really helped us realize was that because this was participant-led and because we had adaptive environments, we ended up having 100% of all of our participants adhere to the rules that they created together. And subsequently, there were no fights. Yay. On top of that, we only had 15% of people drop out, which was a surprise to us. But what was more of a surprise was where that 85% who stayed with us and where they are now. So, in case you're curious, a quarter of them have actually found full-time or part-time employment. Another quarter of them went back to school. And of the remaining half, an eighth of them were able to find permanent housing.
To really showcase.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
To really showcase the personal growth, really want you to meet first Dwight. Dwight, just a couple years ago, was a pimp. Over the course of the past year, he's found part-time employment, which then is translated into full-time employment as a line cook at Jack Astor's. He's also running a side t-shirt business. So Don, your talk really resonates. He's actually got a Shopify site and actually doing things on the side with community members. But more importantly, his growth and his leadership has actually inspired other community members to really make changes in their lives. And meet Sharon. Sharon, a year ago, was bouncing from shelter to shelter. With the support of her support workers, she's now moved into a place of her own in community housing. She has, last summer, at the end of summer, I recall a session where my son Max was with Sharon at the Taste of Regent Park. Sharon looked over at Max and said, "Max, are you excited to go back to school?" And he kind of grumbled, "Not really." And Sharon said, "I am. I'm going back to school for the first time in 40 years." And she's now in the transitions program here at George Brown College, and she's loving it.
Yay, George Brown!
And really, if there's nothing else you come away with today, I think really want you to maybe reflect and see how you can really build rituals and habits into your daily life, whether it's with your team members or with your family members or your extended community, to really have a bit of a, this responsive learning model.
So the next time you feel worried about AI or Internet of Things or whatever is going on in the world, whether that's tonight or next week or whenever, we hope that you will maybe think of us and think of the stories of Dwight and Sharon and think, well, I wonder how I might be able to create responsive learning environments, not just for me, but those around me, in order to better prepare all of us for a more inclusive future of work. Thank you.